Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to go deeper into floats and, see how they can be instrumental in structuring and designing the structure of a site or styling the structure of a site. So, what we'll be doing in this lesson is building a portfolio page because portfolio pages, tend to be image heavy um, and have, a grid-like structure. So here's an example of a portfolio section on kevintomaso.com. He's a great designer in the area here, and you can see how they have three columns. Okay, and if you remember, back when we were designing the 1 million line site, Bootstrap does this nice for us. So there would be column, whatever, small, extra small, medium, for each of these. Column four, column four, column four with whatever size. Okay, which is fine. Bootstrap does it for us, and that's one of the reasons we use Bootstrap, so you can start getting sites up fast. But there may come a time when you want to build a site without Bootstrap. You might want to build it from scratch. So what I'm going to teach you how to do is to style and put divs on all on the same line. Okay, so let's go over here. Or actually go to our code, and what we're going to do is we are going to create new file. And, just like we did, actually, let's take this about page. This about page is nice and pretty simple for us. So copy that, paste it on over here. And what we can do for this about page, that way we can move back and forth through it. Not a big deal if we don't, is we'll take this and say portfolio. And remember, you have to do this with the other pages as well. And we'll just say, because we're going to put them in the same folder, portfolio.html. And this one is portfolio.html. And take that, put it right there. So that's going to be active on that page. Let's save this page as portfolio.html. We'll save this about page as about.html. All right, so we have the portfolio page and we have the about page. Let's reload this. Let's go over to the portfolio page, and it should look the same right now. What we're going to do is we're going to just take out all this. And so this, we just have a container here right now. And we're going to do 3 divs. Or actually, we're going to do class example. Okay? And I probably should have just copied that. And in each one, we'll say div 1, div 2, div 3. All right. So we have div class example. Let's go ahead and open up our blog if you don't already have it open, our blog.css, and let's go down here below blog post page, blog posts, and let's go ahead and make a below about page, and let's say portfolio page, just so we keep our code organized. And we'll just go ahead and give it div class example. Let's give it a background color, just so we know when we start messing with it, of EEE. All right, so now let's head over here and see what our page looks like. All right, so they're on 3 separate lines, as they should be, because they're block elements. But remember, when we use a float, then it just floats it to the left, and then everything wraps around it. So let's see what happens here if we say inspect element, and let's say float left. Ah, okay. Now, if you see, div 2 comes right up to div 1. Okay, so it floats it to the left. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to float all three. So I'm going to go example, float, left. All right, so each one, they're all pushed as far left as they can, and they're all about, 31 pixels big. So that's actually very similar to what Bootstrap does for us here. So if we look at these divs here, because each one's a div, column medium forward, they give it a width of 33.33333. So they're just saying this div is 1/3 of the page width. This next div is 1/3 of the page width, and the third div is 1/3 of the page width. So let's go ahead and do that here. Let's say example, and then each div example will say width 33.33333%. And let's go ahead and give it border 1 pixel solid, just so you can see. All right, see? Now now you can see that they're each 1/3 of the page, okay? So, and we can give it a little margin if we wanted to, just to give it a little spacing. Actually, sorry. Cancel on the margin for right now, because that's outside of the border. So let's hold off on that. But so this 33%, it's going to stay 33% of the parent element. So each of these, this container has a specified width of 970. So each of these div classes is going to be 33% of 970. Okay, so when this parent element gets less than 970, now it's 750, these divs style themselves correctly. So let's go here and open link in new tab, and you can tell that they're doing this with the percentage on these two, because see how these, let's see, inspect element, see how this is skinnier. So this is 33%. The other one's going to be 66%. See? And watch, once that container pops higher, boom, see how they spread out? So we're over here, we do that, and then let's go ahead and save this just to show you. Save that. And let's go in here. And then I also want to add over here, I want to add paragraph. This is some extra text. All right, because I just want to show you something. So we said that it pushes as far to the left as possible. All right, and let's say we change this. Well, first, this is all in one line because it fits within 100%. So like if we change these to 40%, see this div 3 is no longer on the same line as div 1 and div 2, because 40 plus 40 and then another 40 is 120, so it went over 100% of the width. Okay, so it gets pushed to one line, and as you can see, they all push to the left, and then all the other text floats around it. So that's why this is some extra text has moved all the way up here to the first line. So now if we go down to 20, you can see it comes right up here. So all this stuff's pushed to the left, and immediately this other stuff comes. So let's look at this. So how do we deal with that? How do we keep this paragraph on the next line? What we can do is, as we said before, clear. Oh. So we're good to go on that. And then let's also give each of these, let's go back to 33.333%. And let's give each of these some height. So height. Because, if you had like a picture in here, you would have some height. And there we go. So now you see how Bootstrap uses floats to style these columns like we've done. And you can put whatever you want inside these divs, just as we did here with these guys. So I'll go over here and just save that, just so we can use this as an example page. Height, what did I say? Height equals 300 pixels. And this paragraph here, we can say class equals clear. And we'll just say both. All right. And one thing, when I went and talked about the margin earlier, well, two things while we're here. This footer's bothering me here, but it's just because of when I keep opening this. When I went and talked about the margin earlier, that's because the margin adds extra spacing outside of it. So what you could do is you could do like 32%, and you could give margin and see now it adds up to each of them being 33%. So you could do like 32.333. Does that make sense? So now the width is, because width margin is outside the border, so now width is 32.333 plus that 1% margin. So you could do that. Or in the next lesson, I'll show you another way to do margin so that you can get this, difference in, or this space without this, when they have the same background color. You can get a little break in the space here. But for now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is I keep referring to percentage here, and I don't want to leave out, we could use pixels. But the thing is that we've talked before, when you do percentage value, it's relative. So, it's relative to the parent elements, these three divs, their parent elements width. So it's 970, so 32, and let's go ahead and reload this page. Hold on one sec. And I forgot to save it earlier because that paragraph's not showing a clear. So let's save this. Let's reload this page. All right. So they're each at 33. So they're at, what are we saying? 313 pixels, which is 1/3 of 970. So we could change this to 313 pixels. We'd be fine. However, it makes it less responsive. So as soon as this container goes down to now the container's 750 pixels, they still stay at 313 pixels. Whereas before, they probably would have gone to, what's 1/3 of 750? 250 pixels. Does that make sense? Oh, that's because of the border. Oh, it's actually not because of the border. It's because this has a width of 750, but there's a padding left and a padding right of 15 pixels, which makes the actual width 720, so that's why they're each 240. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. The 33% is more responsive, so that it changes with the site, versus the pixel form is just a fixed number that's not going to change when their parent element changes. So that's why I've been using percentage in this lesson. And next we'll go on and we'll style this portfolio page just to look kind of like we got going on here with this portfolio.